Today we are creating a Lighthouse Battle Map. This map is actually part of a quest where the party defend the town of Lightbreach from a zombie pirate attack, or in some other cases, they attack the town of Lightbreach as part of a zombie pirate attack. However, it can obviously be used however you want, and if you do want access to this map or the quest it's a part of, or any resource I make, check out the Patreon, join us on Twitch to make this stuff live, and with that, let's just get into the map. So today we're gonna actually make that map. It's gonna be, I'm thinking 6 stories, but we'll test around and see. So there'll be a basement floor, there'll be an entrance floor, and then there'll be 4 flights of stairs. That should give for a lot of optionality as far as a different type of combat, because a lot of the time in D&D, you're sort of attacking something, right? You're being on the offensive, you're going into a dungeon, you're going into a castle, you're doing whatever. But not very often are you defending. So I think this is going to be a really sort of give a good opportunity for a different type of combat encounter. Of course, this map could be used for an offensive assault by the party as well. With this in mind though, we moved on to the ever important planning phase for the map. Yeah, I think we can play around with this little square theme down here, have a couple rooms. Once again, it is a prison holding an ancient being. And I think this can similarly have, this is the entranceway, so we can have a couple different rooms here, but in pretty standard Lighthouse fashion, I think this is just mostly going to be staircases, right? So that's me trying to do a staircase, that's the staircase outline. It'll look a lot better than when we actually get into the stamps. But I also think we can have little sort of sticking out balconies and stuff like that. If you guys have any ideas or suggestions you want to put down, please put them in the chat and we can, throw them in. We're just in the very early planning phase of our map making. But yeah, I think we can have some fun little balconies that sort of jut out. So it's not simply just a staircase on these 3 floors. Or this floor, and this floor. Because I think top of the lighthouse, we're going to have, a big glowing orb in the center. Radiating out, and this might shock you, light. It's going to be boom, light source. So I think with these 3 levels of the staircases, we want to make sure that they're all unique in some way. Even if they are sort of samey or similar, because they're just sort of going up a lighthouse, I think it's going to be really important to sort of have them have slightly different dynamics so it feels a bit unique and it doesn't just feel like being on this floor is no different from being on this floor. Otherwise, it's going to be a bit stale as a combat encounter, both for the DM, but especially for the players. We spent quite a bit of time trying to figure out the specific stone stamp we wanted to use. We landed on a fairly basic concrete stamp as it fit the look of the actual lighthouse stamp we were making a lighthouse for, but it also fit the narrative. This isn't the fanciest lighthouse in the world, and in turn it makes sense to have basic stonework, a concept we would also employ as we placed the mossy speckled stonework in the basement of the lighthouse. The masonry in this stone lighthouse is, fine. One of the reasons I was really excited to make this lighthouse map was because I wanted to mess with tall circular architecture in a way I hadn't before. This led to the curves on the building presenting a bunch of challenges I hadn't encountered, specifically in the staircase department. I wanted to have the staircases be thinnish 5 feet, but this meant the stamps didn't fit naturally with the rounded walls. I think that's going to be one of the things that we're going to have to figure out a solution for, is how to make this sort of a thin staircase that fits in with the outside of the map. And it might be one of those things where the solution is a little janky. And that's fine. That's fine. I mean, this is one of those things. It's not every battle map is going to be perfect. Not everything that we do is going to work. And it's one of the fun things about doing stuff like this is that you do start to experiment and be pushed into situations which are difficult, like the walls that we had earlier, as we discussed. After trying a variety of solutions, we came up with a technique which kind of worked. So I think one thing we can do is, I think actually placing it under the wall might be a solution, because then we can make the stairs bigger like this, but hide a bunch of it. Because we need, like I said before, if we make it really big, right, that sort of has the correct angling. But we don't, that's 1, 2, 3, that's 15 feet. That's a fucking enormously wide staircase. It's unrealistic, it's dumb. So I think actually shanking these into the wall like this is gonna create that width. And it seems to be working. I mean, that's not good as a sort of thing, but I think this is interesting. I think this is kind of working. And I'm trying to think of a way that we can like interestingly narrativize. I'm just trying different things here. I think it's okay if it looks a little janky. And something that we often do is it's like we let it be janky, but then we narrativize into the lighthouse or into whatever we're making. Oh, it's janky because the architects suck, right? And I think one of the things we can do in this town, we can have this like jankiness in there because these lighthouses have been recreated time and time again. And every time they're recreated, there is sort of this like patch meal of staring. Having spent a good chunk of time figuring out the stamps I wanted to use and how to make the stairs work on circular walls, we were ready to make progress, but also faster progress with less mistakes. Spending the time figuring it out early means you don't have to like change a lot of stuff later, because when you're changing that stuff later, then, it can just be a little bit more, I don't even know what the wording is. It's just like, it can just be like way more time consuming basically, because you have to spend so much time like fixing things. With the blueprint on how to make the staircases in the books, we then moved to making the rest of the floors. One struggle I was having was trying to figure out how to show the perspective that the staircase was winding up, which part of the staircase is higher up and which is lower down. I'm not sure if the pattern we went with perfectly expressed it, but having it ascend from the platform on each of the floors in a clockwise direction is an easy enough concept for the players to get, even if the map does look mostly flat. With the next floors copy and pasted, we endeavored to make each one unique. For the first and second floors, we added simple platforms that the party could use in a variety of ways, such as looking down the staircase and taking shots at the smorgasbord of baddies going hard on leg day. One thing I like about this map is the verticality and the options it gives for some up and down battling that is actually visualized on the map, in a way most maps don't have, where verticality is just implied. Like, of course you can go up from the 2D stimulus that's provided. We kept with the simple design through the rest of the construction, adding in a top floor which has a light the party need to protect and nothing more. But I still wanted a little more spice for the third floor. I think this works. I don't know if it needs to be like too anything. Like it's a lighthouse. Like it's a pretty empty building, right? Like we looked at our lighthouse pictures before. They're empty. They're just staircases. Like that's their whole deal. So I certainly don't think we need to make it too zhuzhy. And I do kind of want to make it a nice like pared back. Although we could have like the third floor be something like this. This is something that could be interesting. Like the third floor is like an eateria. Or like a little house of sorts. Yeah, let's do that. Let's just give that a little bit more something. We gave this room some light decoration, but wanted to keep it fairly reserved like the rest of the lighthouse. We went with all the standards: bed, table, chest of drawers, and so on. I kept wanting to play around with the perspective, so we tucked the furniture under the stairs to really resemble that the stairs are passing through this room and that the interior is placed underneath them. Another floor down, we shimmied to the entrance and decorated it as a combination of a foyer, a kitchen, and a little bit of a storage area. All of this was just for the aesthetic. Mechanically though, we'd need to focus on the trapdoor to the basement the naughty zombie pirates will try to break into. The trapdoor should be mostly covered with a rug or trunk. Yeah, of course it should. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Something that's like kind of interesting as far as like a combat encounter part of it, where it's like the NPCs will take time moving the chest of drawers or whatever, right? Like you put something on top of it and they like literally are trying to like move that shit, so the party can have like a couple turns like trying to like take pop shots or whatever. This marked us moving on to the last of the floors, the Pirate Lord prison basement. We put down the prison bars and prison bed, but pondered on what the rest of the room could be. I think what we can have down here is some broken furniture. I think this could have been somewhere where guards would sit in front of the prison cell, but it's been like taken over by this ancient entity and destroyed. And now they don't even go down there. Like they're too scared. They're too freaked out. We filled the room with broken furniture, and with that, we were more or less donezo, only making a few more tweaks. I'm really happy with how this map turned out. We tried some new things such as the circular stair rooms, which were definitely a little tricky to make work, but overall I think we did a really good job with it. I've also really been enjoying making multi-story buildings like we did with the Temple Tower map, which has its own video if you want to check that out. They've been a lot of fun to make and something a little bit different. For this map though, I really like that you can see 3 of the floors at once while the other 3 are isolated and their own thing. It should make for quite a varied combat encounter with each room sort of being its own gambit. Like I say in every video, if you want access to this map or any map I've made, check out the Patreon, join us on Twitch to help make these stuff live, and if you like this content, if you think, hey, what funsy dunsy time it is to watch someone make D&D resources, then I do this every week, every single week, and you can subscribe to the channel for more content that is similar to this. That's the take, that's the one I'm gonna use. Anyway, thank you for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye.